Welcome to the Housing Agency's video series on the Part 5 legislation. This is the third of 5 videos that will explore Part 5 of the Planning and Development Acts 2000 to 2021. This video will look at the options to comply with Part 5 in more detail. The primary option to comply with Part 5 is the transfer of land, and this falls under Section 96(3)(a) of the Act. It provides for the transfer of 20% of the land to the local authority. Under this option, the local authority pays existing use value as compensation for the land transferred to it. Existing use value refers to the value of the land without the benefit of planning permission or any hope value. The local authority can then use this land to build and deliver social, affordable purchase and cost rental housing. A key term associated with Part 5 is the net monetary value. The net monetary value is the market value minus the existing use value. Market value, as defined in the legislation, refers to the price that the land would have fetched if it had been sold on the open market on the date of the grant of planning permission. The net monetary value is also sometimes referred to as the planning gain that's achieved on a site due to the grant of planning permission. Part 5 requires that the local authority captures 20% of this planning gain and uses it for the provision of social and affordable housing. Under the transition arrangements, which are covered in Section 96(3)(j) of the Act, a 10% Part 5 requirement will apply. The alternative options to comply with Part 5 fall under Section 96(3)(b) of the Act. Instead of the transfer of land on site, an agreement may provide for one of the following: the transfer of completed houses on site, the transfer of houses off site, leasing of houses on or off site, or a combination of the above, including the transfer of land. When discussing the alternative options to comply with Part 5, a key term is the equivalent net monetary value. It relates to each of the alternative options and is the value that the planning authority would have achieved if the agreement was for the transfer of land. As 20% of the homes do not always represent the equivalent of 20% of the land, the value to be achieved under the alternative options should always equal 20% of the planning gain. We will now look at each of these options in more detail. The legislation clearly sets out the price that should be paid for houses on site. That is the site of the houses at existing use value, in addition to the costs including normal construction and development costs and profit on those costs, calculated at open market rates that would have been incurred by the planning authority had it retained an independent builder to undertake the works. The price to be paid for off-site houses is not directly quoted in the legislation. However, the equivalent net monetary value must be achieved. For new build homes off-site under the same developer, the method of calculation used for on-site homes can be easily applied. That is the land at existing use value plus construction costs plus development costs plus builder's profit. For second-hand houses or new builds under a different developer, this method of calculation cannot be easily applied. Instead, the price to be paid is the market price minus the equivalent net monetary value. Like all of the alternative options, when agreeing leasing under Part 5, the equivalent net monetary value must also be achieved. Under the leasing option, this can be done in one of two ways: an upfront rent-free period or discounted rent over the term or a portion of the term of the lease. In both cases, the local authority or nominated AHB are landlord to the tenants and are also responsible for paying rent to the owner of the property. As this is a leasing arrangement, the local authority will never own these properties themselves. We hope you found this video useful. Other videos within this Part 5 series can also be found on the Housing Agency's YouTube channel. Thank you.